Welcome to Snip and Sip, the podcast where we cut through the noise about plastic surgery while sipping our drink of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Scottsdale, from my real name, Dr. Mata. We're gonna talk about funny, we're gonna talk about trends, we're gonna spill the tea and all the secrets. Welcome back, guys. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties with our last episode. Unfortunately, we cannot control technology as much as we try, but we're still getting the content out there, so that's why you saw the AI automation tell you WTF, what the fuck happened, right? But this is our episode number 5, so I'm joined by my lovely co-host.
Hello.
And you are?
I'm Jeanette, or Nurse Scottsdale.
My wife, aka. And?
Lonnie or Alondra.
Alondra, what do you do?
I am the social media coordinator.
All right, guys. Yes. And so what are we going to talk about this episode, guys?
Vagines and weenies.
Now, the topic is sex life and enhancement.
I would say intimacy, but...
Or input.
So, before we get started, what do we need to do, guys?
Talk about our drink of the day.
So what is it?
What's our drink of the day?
It is some white spicy wine.
Spicy, because it's spicy down there. All right, salute. It's not bad. It's apple, right?
Apple.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Green apple, like eating the apple from the schmums.
Yeah. No, you're not kidding. Okay. So, what are we going to talk about when we talk about sex, intimacy, and fun facts? Because sex, it should be fun, right, guys? And if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Well, I heard you guys were going to talk about your love life over here, your intimacy life first. Let us know how it's done.
Well, we have 2 kids, so I guess the anatomy works both ways.
Yeah.
Because when we first met, she's like, I can't get pregnant, right? Isn't that what you told me?
Yes.
Did you hear that? She just said, yes, I can't get pregnant.
So that worked out?
Yes, it worked out. But before, it didn't.
She was like, well, maybe it wasn't her, maybe it was somebody else.
Well, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome.
PCOS, guys, in case you've heard of that.
So my doctor told me if you were to try to get pregnant, you're probably not going to succeed. You're probably going to have to go through a fertility doctor.
In vitro fertilization.
Mm-hmm. So I always...
I'm that fertility doctor, by the way.
Yeah. Wow.
No. But sure enough, we've been fortunate enough to have 2 wonderful babies out of 2 tries. And it's not like we were trying.
2 out of 2.
We were trying to
not
get pregnant.
Yeah, and it worked.
It did. I mean, we have 2 lovely children that I say that we love more than anything from that standpoint. But what do you think, as we were talking earlier before we started the podcast, fun facts? So how old are you, Alondra? Lonnie?
I am 24 years old. Years young.
Young. 24 years young. And how old are you, Nurse Scottsdale?
I am 38.
She just had a birthday, by the way. So
I'm 38 and
she's aging like this fine wine.
I feel great. I mean, I feel like I'm at a good age and I'm not like...
You're still in your 30s, right?
Yeah, it's late 30s.
And I'm over 45 now because I'm way past 6 months to what, maybe? Yeah.
Mid-40s.
Mid-40s, going on my way to 46. So you have 20s, 30s, and 40s in perspective, but you have women, man, right? So when we talk about fun facts, everyone's fun facts are different, right? So let's start with our young counterpart here.
My fun fact.
Yeah, what is your fun fact about sex?
Have y'all ever heard about the grapefruit?
The grapefruit method.
Okay, so I heard that last week and I said, what is that?
What is it?
So
I've never heard of it.
grapefruit method.
Who does that?
What is that? I've never heard of that. What is
So
that?
explain, because I was...
Will cover your ears.
They are covered.
So basically, if you don't want to give head to your man, put a blindfold on him, cut up a grapefruit, cut the inside and go crazy. You know, you won't know the difference.
But doesn't that burn? I mean, it's
I
so
don't know.
sick.
Well, obviously,
I mean, it's...
that's one way to break up with somebody.
No, you won't know. It'll smell citrusy in the air.
And your mouth smells like citrus.
So, have you tried it?
Not
that what you're-
personally, but I would be down at some point, maybe.
To cut a grapefruit and put it on your man's wiener. And you think he would still be your man after that?
Maybe if I was mad at him, probably.
What did you call it? The gorilla lock?
No, the gorilla grip.
The gorilla grip. Maybe if you had the gorilla grip, you could put up with it?
Yeah. He could put up with a lot, so he's fine. They're fine.
They're fine?
They're fine.
They're fine?
They're fine. Yeah.
Well, you hope they're fine and good looking, right?
Yeah.
I do.
So what do you think about the gorilla grip?
I didn't know what that was either. I mean, you guys talk about some like slang. I'm like, what is it? Maybe I'm just too old, or I don't.
What, you're
watch,
38,
like-
right? You're
Do
in
you
your
know
30s?
about the Gluck Gluck 9000?
No, what
3,000.
is that? Oh, 3,000. What?
No,
Like, I don't know these things.
It's the Gluck Gluck 3000.
Maybe I do them, but I don't know what they're called.
9000.
Okay, so what is it?
Explain. Why don't you give us a demo of how that
Dear
looks?
God, I'm good.
So what is it?
Come on, you're the one that knows about it.
I don't
You're-
know. My
you're-
virgin ears have never heard of this thing. I just heard it on a podcast. My virgin ears.
But what is it? If you heard about it, I clearly don't know what it is.
Supposedly, allegedly, the Gluck Gluck 3000. I have personally never
Done the Gluck Gluck 3000.
indulged or.
That's why she's single, guys. Maybe you could teach her.
Personally, I'm all my holes are virgin, so I wouldn't know. But it is gone. Okay.
Come on, what
It
is it?
is a blowjob. You use both hands. Give it a little twist-a-roo.
That's it?
No.
How's that different than any
You
blowjob?
gotta use everything at once. You gotta.
So you're
just
like
gotta go
squeezing? If you're using two
No,
hands?
like bro, I'm not gonna do it with my hands because that's not. That's
Do it
not
on the microphone.
That's not demure and that's not mindful.
So you're using your hands or you put a
You're
blowjob?
mindful.
That's not demure and it's not mindful. Okay.
So you're doing everything.
Yeah, you're doing
Hands and-
everything. Sorry, and you're as we, make a noise and you just go crazy and they'll fall in love. It's been proven by science.
That's
How do you
nice.
make noise and give a
You
blowjob?
choke. Is it not going all the way back there?
Like how are you using your hands and just going all the way back there? Like this thing has to be like a meter long to use your hands and
She's from
choke.
Mexico, guys. She
At the
said a
same
meter. Okay.
And
That's
for
3
urban
feet
people.
long. Okay, by the way, guys. 1 meter is 3 feet.
Like it has to be so long.
Yeah.
Like choke and do that.
Well, if it's not long enough, you can do like fingers like that.
Oh, you know what I heard once? Okay, so somebody said to me, you always want to pretend like you're choking. Even if if it's little, you always want to
Why
pretend.
are you gonna choke? That's like
It
a,
makes them feel better. It makes the guy feel better if you're choking. Although,
that's like a toothpick.
yes, but you want to pretend like you're choking, although you're not. It makes the guy feel better.
Yeah, I heard that one too. Well, that's why the Gluck Gluck 9000 is 9000.
So these are all new to me, guys, because again,
This is girl talk, by the way. Like
obviously,
It's our world.
and I heard it from an older lady. She's like,
Oh.
you always want to like pretend you're choking, although you're not. It makes the guy like finish a lot faster, and it kind of puts the ego a little bit.
boost the ego. Again, that doesn't
can
hurt, but
Kind of like on
You
so
can
making
convert?
her gag kind of thing.
gotcha. Okay. Well, my alarm clock says it's been 10 minutes, so that means it's time to drink again. You guys have been talking about Gluck Glucks and choking and
I wouldn't know.
gorilla
And
grips.
how do you make your man feel better? You know.
I wouldn't know about these things.
Because you don't have a man.
I've never seen a weenie before.
Actually, it's not true. You saw one yesterday.
Don't remind me.
What did you see yesterday? Why don't you tell us what you saw yesterday?
I saw an average size weenie become not an average size weenie.
This is what she calls average.
Yeah, it was not average anymore. So,
So what was it that you saw then?
keyword was,
What was it?
it was the magic shot. So I saw 18 syringes go into a penis and make it a lot girthier all around. So I had to record that.
So did it become like, in your opinion, was it
Because that was
better
the first one?
after, or was it already better before getting it?
Well, it was like, because it was soft both ways, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so it just looked like the size, like you would think, like when he was done, it would be the size of an R. That makes sense? So I can't imagine it, or it's probably like a...
So since we're talking about this, because yes, yesterday I did a magic shot on a gentleman who was, I would say, between 7 and 8 inches erect, because my method of doing this is for every inch you are erect, you need 2 to 3 syringes of filler, right? And those syringes give you about a 20% increase in girth. So if you are 4 inches around, you get 20%, so you end up being 4.8. If you're 5 inches around, then you get 20%, you get 6 inches around. And again, most average peni or penises are anywhere from 3 to 5 inches on erection around. So 20% is a pretty sizable difference. And again, you're new to the magic shot procedure being done. That could you tell the difference between before and after?
Yeah, for sure. Like, substantially. It was a lot bigger.
Were you ready to jump on it?
Shut the fuck. No, I'm a virgin. How many times do I have to tell you?
But that's great that, you know, every day you become a virgin again, right? Every day you wake up in the morning, it's new to somebody else.
Oh my god, I'm getting so much shame from this podcast.
I'm not telling you what you are. I'm just saying you could be a born-again virgin every single day.
So, do you think you see most men that actually need like an increase, or because I mean,
I would say it's really simple.
I mean, I've seen some men, they come in and I'm like, they're already big, and I'm like, why would they want more? And I feel like men think the bigger the better, but as a woman, like, I don't think that's the thing. Like, women are just already huge, and like,
I think it depends. And the reason I say it depends is because I've been doing the magic shot now for 8+ years. Okay. So perspective is everything. Women come in with perfect breasts and they say, I want bigger breasts. And I'm like, but they're great. Perspective is everything. That woman is entitled to getting bigger breasts if she wants them.
Too big, because someone once told me that, well, it wasn't them, it was a friend of theirs who the penis was too big and it ripped their vagina. So
I mean, it's actually possible. Okay, so the thing you have to understand when we go into sociology or the study of societies, right, is that certain races tend to have bigger you-know-whats. And, for example, other races or other ethnicities, maybe race is a bad word, ethnicities have different sized ones. And again, that depends on how they procreate or how their society continues to evolve, right? So if you are a man and you are trying to continue your species, but the women you have are really big, guys with small wieners aren't going to be able to reproduce because their wiener has to be long enough to get into the vagina. And if a woman's really big and heavy, it's not long enough. So the guys with no, but it's true. I mean, if you
but it can, I mean, just
correct.
Room.
But again, I see this all the time. There's something called hidden penis syndrome. That's where there's so much fat around the penis that you can't physically see it. You have to do liposuction. Yes, the fupa is fupa-ing. But think about horses, for example. Everyone's like, gosh, you're strong like a horse. Why is a horse penis really long? Because when they mount the female, their penis has to go from their base all the way up into where it's supposed to go. So it has to be like literally about this long for a horse penis to be able to basically to get to where it needs to go in order to drop its semen to have babies.
Doesn't gravity do its thing?
But how can it do its thing when the horse is standing up like this and trying to get on it?
Sure, it's not going to get in.
Correct, and that's
but like if she's upside down.
But the horse, you understand, horses don't
I'm
have
not
sex.
talking about a horse.
But again, that's the perspective thing. But again, if there's so much fat, how are you going to move it if it's all down there? You guys just don't understand the anatomy of it, that it has to be long enough to get to where it's going in order to drop what it needs to be dropped off.
I mean,
in order
not
to
to say that guys with smaller
They
They
can,
still get-
but it's harder for them to have
hard
sex
price.
with a woman that's bigger in order to do this. I'll tell you a story, okay? You guys might have never heard of this, okay? So when I was in training, there was this couple that came in. The guy was kind of my size, and the woman was 300 plus pounds, okay? She came in with a black eye, and the guy said, hey, I ended up hitting my wife with a 2x4. And you're like, what do you mean you hit her with a 2x4? Well, her mom and dad were holding the 2x4, getting her stomach out of the way because we were trying to have a baby. Because there was so much in there. And then he was trying to get there, and he pushed so hard that they let go of the 2x4 and it hit her in the face.
The mom and dad were there while they were trying to...
Yes, because they needed people to hold a 2x4 to get her stomach literally off her body so that he could get to where he needed to get to in order for them to have a baby.
If my mom and my dad were...
But again, she was that big.
But how can she even get pregnant if she's that big? When
Again,
your body can't, like...
Well, everybody's different. There's plenty of big people that have babies. But I'm just telling you, that is literally something that came into our ER when I was doing my training.
Am I the only one that shot?
And again-
holding her stomach and
But
while
again-
she's trying to fuck.
Yes, but the stomach was literally that big, okay? And like I said, we didn't believe it until the mom and dad came afterwards and said, yes, we were doing that because the guy almost got arrested for,
TV.
domestic violence. Because it doesn't seem real. Like you guys look at me and you're like,
How many times do you think they did that too? Like it's just that
that wasn't the first time. But I'm saying that's the first time that it slipped and hit her in the face.
Oh my god.
Poor lady.
But I'm saying, but here's the thing. Culturally for them, it wasn't that big of a deal because bigger women have a hard time, like, how do you move the stomach if somebody's small and their stomach is so big and so heavy that the guy couldn't move it by himself. So this is when I tell you the anatomy plays a big part in all of this. But you're like, you're trying to imagine it in your head going like, how is that even possible, right?
I just can't with the parents while she's getting to
So what? It could have been their friends, but I mean, they're not watching. They're literally. Imagine pushing
her
as hard as you can.
father is in there while she's getting spread open and like that's
Getting
insane.
Clapped on.
Yeah,
This is
that's
not
what dad.
pleasurable. This is just for reproduction.
Correct. It's like they're
Yeah,
having
and her
sex to have
dad
babies.
is looking at her vagina.
He's not
they're over
looking.
here. Yeah. They're just
The-
closing their eyes, maybe
Correct.
earmuffs or something. I don't know.
And
You've
then
never
the
had sex
boyfriend-
with anybody in the room next
No,
to you?
and then the boyfriend is getting hard, like with the dad right there, and
They're helping because they want babies.
So you're saying that size does matter for reproduction.
Yes, it totally does matter for reproduction,
and for
that's
other things too that matter.
But
like what says the virgin.
But is
So it's
it
bigger, better.
for reproducing.
is it the bigger the better, the smaller the better, or is it
I
like
think. Well, I personally wouldn't know, but
You've heard.
I've heard out there from other people.
from the grapevine?
From the grape. A little birdie told me that girth is better than length. However, both is optimal. So
Okay, so is the birdie called your vagina?
at times.
At times, there you go.
So you want to stack like a tuna, like
You want it like this?
like a tuna.
I'd rather it have, balance, a little bit of both, personally, from friends that I've heard.
So you'd rather have a thumb or a pinky?
Like, why does it have to be either or?
But she says girth, so
So probably the thumb.
So remember, one is shorter, one is longer. But one
But
is
like a
longer and
pencil,
thinner.
what's a pencil gonna do?
All it has to do is
What is
drop
it
what it's
gonna do?
supposed to drop.
Just
It's a
need
drop its
inches.
load.
right? You just need 3
Actually, all you need to do is get in the hole and let the sperm do the rest of the job.
But what if you don't want the sperm to do the job?
All right, guys, it's been 10 minutes.
Already done. Fuck.
Man, isn't that what everybody wants to do? You're supposed to something first.
something. And this is just such a hot topic. I'm like, it's just
What's your fun fact, Jenna?
I don't know.
You want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about my personal and private life. especially that he's right here. Like,
So that means she's gonna
Come
talk
on.
shit if I wasn't here.
not about you, but you know.
All right, you're gonna get
Because
mad
she's
at
been a
me.
virgin before she met me. She's never had partners.
She's only, my sister has only had sex 2 times, and it was only for her children, and that's it.
Reproduction.
Only for reproduction. We don't believe in anything other than that.
But I mean, with that being
I
said,
think your nose is literally growing as you're talking. It is literally expanding.
okay, but I do think too big is too big.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna say this. I did walk out one time because I saw this thing. It was so big, and I had been dating this guy for a while, but we never had done anything. And I think and he would always tell me like, oh, you know, my job as a man is to like try things, and you know, you can always stop. And I was like, he was just weird. But anyway, so you know, we were started making out and stuff, and then he like took this thing out, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like literally, I got scared and I left, and I never talked to him again. And
Was
this
it
thing
a
was
horse?
so big.
And that you don't have that problem anymore?
No, I mean, like walking away. No, like it was just like a horse, and I was like, this thing is it's not going any like, near me. I'm like, I'm little and it's huge.
It would have ripped your vagina.
Yeah.
And again, ripping is totally a thing, guys.
But
You have, you know, to her point, these are the dynamics of where I go back to the anatomy and the physiology. If he is that big, somebody is interested in that size, right? There's always a spectrum for what people like and don't
Just
like,
not you.
right? Like not her, but maybe her sister is. But what I'm saying is once that happens and your tissue has stretched, it's not like we're just it's a muscle, it goes back. It stretches. It's like a rubber band. If you overstretch a rubber band too much, it'll shrink, but it's never going to go back to the way it was. So now, if you've been with that man, everyone else who is not that or bigger is not going to give you that kind of pleasure or result. So that's why it's funny. It's such a cliche, but they say once you go black, you don't go back, because once it's stretched out, you know what that's like, or it gets you whatever it is. It's like having the best sex of your life. Once you have it, everything else isn't just quite as good. But if you've only had sex with one person, that's the best sex of your life. But then when you have sex with somebody different,
Yes,
things
but
change.
on the other hand, too, people that are way too big have problems
Keeping it up.
Keeping it up.
Really?
It requires so much more blood flow to keep it up. So most of these guys come and see us because they can't get it up all the way.
you're
And,
like, what?
and as they get older,
I
it
didn't
gets
know that.
worse.
It does.
Is it okay?
So imagine having a car that's solar powered. It's a bigger car, it needs more solar energy, right? If it's a small car, it needs less solar energy. So the thing with these guys is
So
they
don't
need
come
more
that
juice.
fast?
Well, it has nothing to do with
Sometimes
coming.
they
It's
don't.
just keeping it up.
It's sometimes they don't. It's
Well,
really
then
hard for
they
them
don't
to
come that
finish.
fast, and it takes longer.
Yeah, it's really hard
It's
for them
not-
to finish, and they don't get fully hard all the way. Like,
Whiskey wiener.
yeah,
Yes,
and
but they're
it's-
bored with it.
because they're so big. It just requires a lot more blood flow.
Hey, you look at her, she's like, I want to test this theory out tonight. I'm looking, trying to
So
test
is
this
it
theory.
similar? So you know how like when you can make it like surgically, you can make a penis longer by like cutting. I don't know what
The ligament,
the
yes.
ligament, and it makes it longer, but they can't get it back up right. Is it like
Correct. The surgery that everybody talks about is called penile lengthening surgery. There is a ligament called the dorsal penile ligament. So if you imagine a guy, when he's not happy, it hangs, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get hard, it pulls on that ligament, so the blood flow goes and it stands up. Some people are curved, some people are not, right? That's called chordy. That chordy means your penis is kind of curved.
Like a banana.
Like a banana, exactly. And so if you think about it, when you cut this ligament, now the penis can't have a point of where it flexes from. So now it ends up basically being long and hard, but hanging down. So if you go and watch pornos, for example, or any kind of adult industry, and you're like, gosh, that thing is hard, but they're literally like picking it up and trying to put it somewhere. It's because
it doesn't.
because it doesn't stand up at attention. So you'll see them, they're like erect and then they're putting it in, and you're like, it's weird because it should be literally kind of sticking out like this, right? If this is the penis, here's your body, it should be sticking out. But theirs hangs low and it's hard. That's why it's not my favorite procedure to do, and I don't really recommend it, because yes, you get length, but understand too that the penis, whatever you see on a guy, is only about 1/3 of what's actually in their body. So 2/3 of the penis actually lives inside the body. If you think of the clitoris, that's literally like 1 or 2% that sticks out. The rest of the 97, 98% is inside the body. That's why when people take testosterone, the clitoris grows, because it increases in size, that little piece. I've seen patients where their clitoris literally looks like my son's penis. That's how big it is in a woman. And obviously it shouldn't be that big, but the bigger it is, the more easy it is to find. So the better it is for the guy to be like, hey, there it is.
She's like, I want to try some testosterone.
She's like, I need some testosterone. I need some testosterone to make my, as somebody says, the clit grow.
I wouldn't know about these things.
You don't?
No.
But think about it. Here's the other problem that I see as a plastic surgeon. So let's say a woman comes in and she's like, hey, I want a labioplasty. That's where you're fixing the extra skin that's hanging out of the majora. That's the fluffy part that you can kind of see through yoga pants. The extra stuff that hangs out is the camel toe. The extra part, or the lettuce, or the roast beef, whatever terminology.
The roast beef.
Everybody uses, and again, these are not my words. These are words that women have used when they've come to see me. Is they're like, hey, I want to trim that. I want it to be flush, right? Mm-hmm. How does that go, Alondra? The extra. But the reason you take care of it is because some of that you guys who don't have those issues, when you have intercourse, those lips go in and out. And that is not, and that is not pleasant when it's pulling in the wrong direction.
But I'm sure it does. I mean, if it's like, just think of like extra skin with friction.
But isn't that technically supposed to be like,
there's no,
like, don't they have like pleasure points there?
But not there.
The sensation for the outside part is very limited. And again, everybody's different, but understand.
This is due to like birth, or
there's some women that are literally just born with extra tissue down there, and part of that has to do with hormones. If you have higher levels of hormones, all your tissue down there is going to grow, right? We talked about last week, Iman, the boxer, right? Her anatomy is different. If she has higher levels of testosterone, everything down there is going to be bigger. So you have to understand the perspective that as surgeons, when we take care of this, our goal is to get you what it is that you're looking for, but it's totally aesthetic. Sometimes it can be problematic, but then you have to see your obstetrician or gynecologist to kind of help with that and see if it's covered under insurance, but it's rare. When we take care of it as plastic surgeons, we're trying to trim everything, but understand the point that I was getting to is that tissue can overgrow the clitoris. So if this is your clitoris and you have tissue covering it, how do you get pleasure?
Oh, it's like a hood.
Exactly. That's why it's literally called the clitoral hood. And some people's hood should cover here, but it covers their entire thing all the way down here.
All the way.
And I've literally taken care of a patient recently where we dehooded it to about here. And it was a lot to ask to sit here and take it completely out, because her entire life has been lived with a clitoris that's been hid. So now you uncover it and all of a sudden it's exposed that you're like, bam. Like you wear underwear and you're like, whoa, that's a little too much. So part of that is understanding these little subtle differences when we're taking care of patients. So just something to think about.
Why do men have a higher libido? Is that thing? Or do you disagree with that?
Well, I would say I have a higher libido than you.
What is libido?
True.
How would you guys?
What is libido?
Libido.
Do you have men that have libido for you?
Like the want to have sex.
Oh, just like thirsty?
Sex driven.
Yeah.
Like just thirsty?
Yeah.
They're just thirsty. Are you thirsty?
Or horny?
Or horny?
I've
Thirsty?
never-
You don't know
But
what
I
that
feel
is.
like most men.
I don't know what that sensation is.
But again, it just depends, because there's some women that have higher sex drives than most men. And then there's men that have higher sex drives than women, and on average, 10 minutes.
Well, I just took mine. You guys have to take yours.
10 minutes.
I would say though, like for women, it just depends on like, it's so many different things. Like, especially like this time of the month you're in. Like,
I think the time of the day,
Time of the day, if you're tired, like,
like your age, also is a
yeah, you're
factor.
bloated. I don't know.
If you have kids and you're always tired, you get home and you just want to go to bed. You just want to go to
I
sleep.
never get laid.
Yeah, I was like, this whole episode, you're just gonna try to get laid.
Who doesn't?
Well, you're a man. Is your libido higher?
It is when it comes to her.
Okay, you think we don't, but we do. I
How
think
many
we're
times a
like,
week? Or
what's the average of people having like
Average?
couples? Not like boyfriend girlfriend and they just met. Not that'll be like every day, but
So, like married.
married couples. What's
I
the
would
average?
say-
Well, let me guess.
I would say it depends on their age. If you're 70, maybe they don't have sex that often. If you're 20 or you're 18, whether you're married or not, you're getting
Yeah,
it on.
you've been married for a while. Like if you're like in a established relationship, like what is the average? Is I mean there is a number out there.
What's the number? What's the number?
I think they said like 1 to 2 times a week
Once a week?
or twice a week. That's average. Like
You
4
look-
times
you
a
look
month.
lost, Alondra.
4 times a month. And we're
Four
like
times
well
in a-
above the
in a
average.
whole month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at her. She's like,
I
yeah.
wouldn't know. That's a
Okay,
lot.
he would be so angry that I would probably just do more just so he would be a happier person.
You can ask the opposite.
So yes.
Those are facts.
So yeah, there's
Sacrifice
no
yourself.
way. It's only 4 days a month.
Put out those in a better mood.
Everybody's in a better mood when you get laid. Those are facts. Are you telling me you're not in a better mood after you get laid?
Depends. If it wasn't good, man.
So fun fact.
But I didn't get
Fun
it.
fact. I have one. So she still works for us. Julie.
Oh,
She
you're
used
name
to-
dropping?
She used to, well, we have like 2 or 3 right now working for us, but she used to sit next to me and she always used to tell me like, oh, he's in a good mood today. He must have like put out on me. And I would just smile. And then if something was happening, she's like, hey, if he's in a good mood, I'll bring you coffee. And I was like, so in the morning, she's like, hey, just text me yes or no. And then so sometimes I'm like, yes. And then she'd get me coffee in the morning.
Oh my god. So every time she had coffee, you guys had some?
Yes. Yeah, well, she would get me coffee, but now she gets me coffee all the time.
Oh, so
And
it's
she
all the
doesn't
time.
And I still don't get laid, so I better stop giving her coffee.
Well, no, you would get me coffee every
after,
time.
after we did it. Yeah.
And then now, like, he still gets me coffee, so why would I?
Put out.
Yeah,
If I
you're
was
already
getting
getting
coffee.
your coffee.
Yeah. Why would
You
get
need
coffee?
to get her something else now.
Our staff would literally get me coffee.
There you go. That's all it takes.
So that's the fun.
All right, guys. I'll give you coffee money. So that maybe I get some more.
Now she needs like purses every time.
So, but what are the facts, right? Like, as we're sitting here talking, sex on average is once a week. But again, I'd say it's age dependent. Right?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot more when you're younger and in a relationship.
So when you're in a relationship, what's average, Alondra?
It depends if you're busy.
Let's say no period, no unhappy, pissed off, angry at the boyfriend.
That never
Every day.
happens.
That
That's like
never-
a unicorn
Okay.
boyfriend.
Doesn't happen.
So
No.
let's say things are good
Ideally,
every day.
no.
That's
How
too
about
much.
how about
Because
more?
then it like gets raw and it hurts like after a while. Like
It's a muscle. You gotta work
You
it out.
gotta get time to like freshen up. Like every
like
night,
every day
like,
it's
yeah.
like maybe like 3 to 4. Because then it also like it gives you time to miss him too. Like if you're doing it all the time, like it's not as
Yeah, you gotta
Like-
like miss
You
it.
can
Like
tell
to
their
have.
sisters, guys.
like it's.
I mean, there's times that you want it every day, but then it's like, okay, now like I need a little break.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. If you
I'm still
overdo
waiting
it,
for
also.
that every day.
like if we have gone like every day, maybe
For like 2 days in a row.
or like 3 or 4, and then it's like I need a week off.
Yeah.
There you go. So
we
the
need a
average
break
is, like,
every
once
once
a
in a
week.
while.
Yeah, like you just
Too
want to
much.
like freshen up and like
Yeah, you need time to miss it.
Yeah, because I feel like it's something like if you eat the same food every day, like it just
Like
it's
going
not
to
as-
3,000 every day is a lot for some.
Yeah, so it's like
Not for me.
like
I'm
starve
still waiting
yourself
the first
for
one.
like one day, and then you're gonna see the food. It's like, oh, this is so yummy because you like have been starving for a whole day.
Yeah, we have to starve them so they want it more.
And this is no disrespect, but this is why guys go find shit elsewhere.
Well, let them. Then it's not my man.
Okay. All right, you just heard it. So
That's not the
listen.
woman, that's the guy. Like, don't blame the woman, that's the guy. If he wants to find something, that's all.
That's all on
That's
that.
all
They
that-
want to be hoes somewhere else. Not me.
So here's my question.
Because even
So
if you give it up every day, if a man is gonna cheat, he's gonna cheat
Oh,
regardless, because that's how his
A cheater's a
personality.
cheater.
I agree.
Yeah.
I get the perspective.
So because my sister's not putting out, you're gonna go find it somewhere else.
Even if I was, I'm sure if he was gonna, he's gonna.
Fair enough. But here's the point that I sit here, and again, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or any kind of therapist from that standpoint. But if you meet somebody and part of the dynamics of the relationship is that you guys have a lot of sex. And then when the sex dries up, that was part of the relationship that you guys had. So now are you the same person that you were when you met that person, and that's kind of what they expect?
Well, I couldn't. No, because it's like when you're fresh in a relationship, you're in your honeymoon stage. You're gonna get.
Things change.
Yeah,
You evolve
things
with the
change.
person. You age and evolve.
And then you go from, like, let's say you do it 3 times a day, all the time, for whatever reason.
3 times a day is great.
But then you ask the other person, maybe is the other person that changed. So the other person doesn't want to do it 3 times a day.
Or what about you're like, hey, my partner got fat, that's why I want to do this.
Or leave them.
Or what if, like, now we have kids, like, we have priorities. I don't have the time to be doing it 3 times a day.
We never had the time.
Either that we, like, we gotta get the kids to sports, to school.
Before,
We gotta
after
get them to
sports.
bed. Like, they're there. We can't just go to the couch and, like, hey, you know what, because they're playing right there.
You guys used to do it in the garage, like in the car. I feel like one
No.
time I was babysitting and you guys were like, because Jenna was drunk, and
No.
you guys in the car.
No.
I remember.
I finally got
I
out of
used
the
to.
car.
Oh my god, I used to live with y'all. I remember that.
Yeah, no, we never did it in the car. ever.
Unless I was too dumb to remember that. We have a house that we have.
Why
Well,
would
but
we do
the
it in the
kids were there and I was there.
So it's not like
We
there's
have a
other
bedroom.
rooms?
They have their own bedroom.
I could have sworn y'all were doing it in the car.
That's probably a memory from you being drunk and thinking that you did it in our house, in my garage.
No.
Yes,
I
that's the
was
memory.
traumatized.
You know how many traumas you created for us when you lived with us?
Oh, okay, I was a saint to live with. Anyway, moving on.
I think I can post that on Instagram. The woe is me, I'm drunk and
Like 3:00 in the morning. We're all asleep.
cleaning up your
We're having
vomit.
a
I've
scene
never
outside.
been-
We're like
I've never been
outside.
police are coming.
Before.
The police are coming.
I don't even know what alcohol tastes like.
Really?
This is apple juice.
Yeah.
Gosh, she loves to.
I don't know. I wouldn't know, guys. I wouldn't know myself. Okay,
So
you're
what
saying
is that? So now that we think, okay, the average is once to twice a week. Okay. So what is the duration of sex? Is there an average?
well,
Let's say
30
you guys.
minutes.
here's my thing. Sometimes a bitch is tired and it's too long sometimes. Or it's just way too short. Sometimes when you're getting to the good part and then all of a sudden it's cut short.
So for you, not for the men.
Yeah. So like so it's just, it depends. Every time
So
it's different.
if you knew that 5 to 7 minutes was an average, is that a good average for you? Like it's not.
No.
Is it too short or too long?
Yes, it is too short. 'Cause,
So what if your man was good enough to get you there in 30 seconds?
well, that man needs to come talk to me because where's
You're
that man?
like, you're like 5 minutes of that. You're like, oh God, please
Then
stop.
that's
us.
enough.
Yeah.
But I
So
have not
again-
met that man yet.
So the timing has nothing to do with the longevity of sex. It's whether you get there or not.
Yeah, and most men are not getting me there in 5 minutes. So, let's just put that out there.
I think 10 minutes. It's like.
Perfect.
Yeah, short and
Perfect.
sweet.
Well, it's like too short is too short, like right, like just a one pump jump is like okay, really, like, but also like 30 minutes, maybe an hour is like
It's
okay, like can you like be done already? You know?
And did you say, hey, do you wish you were, you're like, hey, hurry up, be done?
Well,
because
you
you already
don't
got there or
say
because
it.
you didn't
It
get
also
there?
depends though, because if you're doing the same thing over and over and it's just taking an hour, yeah, that's fucking boring. But like if it's
But like if you're already done, like you're done and he's not, he's just
Let's
like,
say you got there in 30 seconds and he's
And
like,
he's
yeah,
still
well,
there.
yeah,
You're like,
no,
okay.
I'm done.
and then your brain is not there anymore because you already got there.
Yeah, now I'm bored.
time. 10 minutes.
Sing a salute.
But it just depends what you're doing. Like if you're switching it up and whatever, okay. But if it's the same thing over and over, and I'm bored, I want it to be done.
Then why don't you say it's done and be like, oh,
I do.
I'm done.
I'm tired.
But I don't think we say that. I think we just
You
think
just
it.
pretend that you're
We're
done.
thinking.
I'm tired at that point. I'm
You
just
pretend.
gonna go to sleep.
You pretend that you're done, and then that's it. It's over.
Well,
Yeah.
it's too long. I think your body sends signals, right? You just like dry it up and like you keep, like, right? When your brain is like not
Or
there anymore.
get a little ego boost. You're done, and yeah, if it's too long.
So, you heard it here first. If you've known these ladies outside of the circumstances, now you guys know the story behind all of this. So how about you? Do you think sex is different now that you've had babies?
Is it different? I mean, it's still fun. I just don't think I'm thinking about it as often as before babies because it's like my time was used differently. Now I'm like just worried about the kids. Oh my gosh, I have to be here. I have to get this ready for tomorrow. I have like, there's so much going on in my brain that like sex is not like the first thing.
Which sucks, guys.
So, and like now I feel like I have a time. Like my time is like when the kids are sleeping, like everything is good. Now it's like, okay, yes. But like mornings, there's no way. Like I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna get up. I have, they have to take a shower. I have to get all these things ready. I have to get them to school. And like, I just like, my brain is just, or actually afternoon too. It's like surprisingly, like I love afternoon delight, but when can I? And the kids are always,
I'm literally working,
unless
We
we
work
weekend
for
and they're
lunch.
taking a nap.
which never happens.
Well, now, but they did for a while. And it was like, okay, you have a couple minutes, like,
If he leaves for lunch tomorrow, we know why. If you're
yeah,
at the
so
office for
usually
lunch.
afternoon is like my time. Like,
her time, you hear that?
By
Her
yourself?
well, no, I mean, if he, like I said, he's like, we might have like 5 minutes and,
We gotta get to work.
Yeah.
Alondra?
Like I've said many a times on this podcast, I wouldn't know.
okay, if you did know when,
But if you did know, what would it be?
I mean, I like a little spontaneous, like in a relationship, like all of a sudden, like unplanned, but usually at night too, because you can just fall asleep. And you can just go to bed right after. But I don't do these things, guys, so I
see,
wouldn't
like
know.
my worst time, and I know for most guys, is like morning. And I hate
I don't
morning
like
because you're not fresh, your breath stinks,
Exactly.
like you just like not, and
Just
especially
gotta roll over it.
especially if you had like,
get ready for the
when it was like, especially if you had
tired.
sex the night before, I just feel like I'm dirty.
Yeah, and
like,
then again
like,
in the morning.
and I'm like, don't kiss me because like I feel like I'm like no, it's just not my.
Yeah, we never have morning sex.
But
Yeah, you're nasty. I'm just kidding. She just said she feels dirty at the moment.
But not because of what we did. We're married, okay? So it's totally
You guys
okay
have
to
only
that.
done it. This is based on the 2 times that you guys have
yes,
done
but
it.
if I
Yeah. The only 2 times you guys have done it. This is what the information
Because
is.
she was a virgin when I met her.
Yeah, because she ran away from the horse to
yeah, see.
Yeah, and it would have been over. We wouldn't have got married.
That
I
would
couldn't
have
kept
been
up with that. I couldn't have kept up with that.
So, what do you guys think are some good tips? As someone who never has had sex before, what are some good tips to get there, sister?
I mean,
You have to know what you like.
yes, and I think mentally you have to be there. Like, you can't just like, I'm gonna go try this out. Like, if your brain is not there, like, you can't.
Yeah, every thinking about something else.
Yeah.
You have to focus on it.
Like, well, I mean, for me, I think I'd have to focus. And I think even if, like, I was not even doing anything, if I'm, like, focused, I probably could have an orgasm without.
Really? Just thinking about it? Damn.
I probably could. I mean, I think anybody. It's just like, if you
You understand an orgasm comes from your brain. the signals that are down in your vajayjay go up to your brain. That's how
you
you
have to stimulate some people.
correct. But again, how good is your brain?
I had a hairdresser that used to tell me, it's like, yeah, I used to have this girl, and she's like, I didn't know this, but she loved getting her hair washed and just massaged. And she would orgasm as she was getting her hair.
Oh, sorry, what?
Mm-hmm. Yep. She's like, I didn't know this, but I feel like
she came every day.
No, she was just like, she would like have like, so she started like, she would like make a weird noise, like if she was like having her, and then later the girl told like, it's something that happens every time.
No, you're trying to do that. You're foul.
It doesn't happen to me, but I mean, like different people have different things. Like that just
gets you going.
Yeah.
So here's a story. This is a fun fact. So when I used to do surgery with what's called conscious sedation, not deep sedation, this is where the patient is more awake but numb, right? So they're still there, right? Like you can have a conversation with them. They might not remember it, but they're there enough to have a conversation.
They're like awake, but it may be like in another state of mind. Yeah.
Correct, but they're totally awake to us. Like you ask them a question, they'll answer. And so I was doing this breast augmentation on a patient, and she started moaning. Moaning so loud that the office is like, is this person okay? Like they thought like the patient was having pain.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I was doing the surgery, and I was putting more numbing medicine, and I was like, damn, are you okay? She's like, no, I'm okay. Oh, like, and I was like, I don't know if she was lying, because again, you know, part of the dynamics when you do this is the patient's asleep, but they're awake. And right as I was almost about to put the implant, you just heard this loud, long moan. And everybody was like, is everything okay? And then she went,
oh my God. That's amazing.
And then everybody like afterwards was like,
I'd be so
like we need a cigarette right now. Like it was that crazy that everybody who was there was just like.
Did she know after
No.
they tell her? Oh yeah, I did not.
So what do you think that was? I mean, because you know some people get stimulated, you know, with just.
But if it's numb, what is she feeling? Exactly.
Or like she was dreaming, maybe having a dream.
You know,
Maybe she was having a wet dream.
Maybe, but again, she was responding to the questions. So it's like you're there, but you're not there. But she totally like got
That's
there.
insane.
So that was like the breast augmentation forever for her. Not that she ever remembers, but and then I have another story. So in my younger days, before I had my lovely wife here in North Scottsdale doing the P shot and the O shot, that's where we take your blood, spin it, get liquid gold, and then inject it into that area because it has all these growth factors that help you increase your blood flow, your sensation, your stimulation, all these things. So I used to do them myself because, again, I didn't have help, and this is when she was at home taking care of our baby. That I did one on a woman, and, you know, I did it, and after the first shot, she's like, whoa, and I was like, okay, hey, I'm sorry, you know, we'll put some more numbing. Mm-hmm. And then because, you know, you inject in different places. And after the last one, she just like started sweating and just like going. Oh.
It was working right away.
That, you know, she came back for follow-up, but she couldn't look at me in the face. She was like, yeah, no, it was good. It was fine. You know, everything's great. And then it wasn't until later that, you know, I didn't see her, but one of my staff members was talking to me, and they're like, hey, you remember that lady that never looked in your eye? And I said, yeah, it was just kind of weird because before she was like, hey, engaging. Mm-hmm. After that, she could never look at me in the eye. And they're like, do you know why she stopped looking you in the eye? And I said, no, I have no idea why. They're like, because you literally gave her an orgasm that lasted over 24 hours for her. And she was just uncomfortable that you did that for her by doing this injection, that she could never look at you in the eye.
Oh my goodness. Has that happened to you with the P-shot?
With guys? No, because I get them numb, so they're numb. So as I'm injecting, they're completely numb.
No, so you're not feeling it.
No.
But again, it's not that she felt it, but it was just, if you find the right spot, like I said, if you find the right guy who knows where to touch.
Oh, what do you guys think of like G spots? Because technically it's not like...
It is a thing.
It is, right? But it's not like, it's not the same place for every
clitoris and the G spot are two different areas.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
it's
this
like
is
above, right? Or something like that.
So if you think of the vagina as a whole, right? you have the outside, you have the clitoris. As you go on the inside, on the upper part, as you go beyond the pubic bone, you will find a collection of tissue that supposedly has more nerve endings, but that collection is different on anybody. But usually as you go in, you curve up, that's usually where it is. And again, it's been 10 minutes, guys.
Oh my goodness.
This is a long episode. Yeah. Wow, we had a really good episode, huh? Look at the young one who hasn't been drinking.
She's
My
trying to
elbow
learn.
is here. She's still here.
She's trying to learn.
Because she's
Not
never done it.
sponsored.
But with the patients, though, like I get some pretty good feedbacks from the guys. Oh, you get some good feedback. Well, yeah, when they come back, say it was.
Who doesn't love for a woman to grab his dick, except they have to pay for it?
No, I mean I'm super professional when they come.
She
in.
holds a lot of penises, guys.
I do.
And they're not mine.
But it helps them out. Like they come back and they're like really happy because maybe they haven't had an erection that has lasted, and they come back and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting! Like I was able to maybe have sex 3 times a week. I was able to get an erection.
Would that help with like erectile dysfunction or like people with bigger penises, like you were saying? That
I
can't?
see a lot of that bigger penises that can get a full erection. Yeah. So again, I do a lot of them, and like I said, most of them are pretty good feedbacks. I mean, the guys keep coming back.
It's worth the money.
I mean, it is worth the money.
They keep coming back.
No, especially if guys are having problems or issues. I mean, it's well worth the money.
Yeah, don't you guys have something else in the office that, like, at least for vagina, that you, like, put in and it, like, stimulates?
Yes, we have what's called the FemiLift, and we used to have Thermiba, but a FemiLift is a laser that you do typically.
Yes.
And what does it do?
It helps to tighten the inside of the vagina. Technically, you can also do the outside, but I treat mainly the inside of the vagina. So I always see it as we go in there and we use the laser treatment, and we're taking off like a little layer, and then when your body kind of regenerates a new layer, it becomes thicker, so it becomes tighter.
It also helps with lubrication. It helps with urinary incontinence. That's if you've had babies or a lot of weight gain. Your pelvic floor relaxes so the bladder is not as functional as it can be. So sometimes you cough or you get up or you strain and you pee a little bit. And so it can help with those things.
And I'm just really bad. I won't do it for those reasons, but you do get a little bit of improvement.
Remember, it takes 3 treatments, and everyone's like, great, I did 3. But remember, you still continue to age, so you need upkeep to kind of maintain it. It's the same thing with the P and O shots.
So a fun fact. So I had a lady that was coming. So after you do the FemiLift, right, we always tell the patients, okay, nothing goes inside for a week to 2 weeks. Just let it heal. So I had this lady, she came in twice, and of course she goes home and she can't have sex for a week, maybe 2 weeks. So the husband started questioning her, like, why, like, we can't have sex, and like, why it feels different now, like, better different, but he didn't want to say better different. So on her last appointment, he came in, and she was kind of embarrassed, but she kind of told me, like, hey, my husband wants to come in because he thinks I'm cheating on him. Because she said, where are you going and why can't we have sex? And so the guy was so like apologetic. He's like, I'm so sorry, but this is why it feels different. It feels good. Like it feels better because it just feels tighter. But he just couldn't understand why we can't have like sex. Like, it feels weird. But yeah.
Like if it's tighter,
But I don't know. It's just because it felt different. So he was thinking like she's having sex with somebody else, but can't like have sex, and it just feels different. But he just couldn't comprehend.
She's kind of stingy. I say you can have sex after like 3 or 4 days. When we do the magic shot is when I say like wait a week, because it's like Jello when we do the magic shot. You really want it to set before it molds and adjusts.
So when we do the PRP, I said go at it. It's same day. If they have a penis pump, they want to use it like 3 times a day if they can for the next few days.
Correct. You want to have that increased blood flow of things going where they should.
So that's if they want to have sex.
So
Like,
the
they want
difference
to.
between PRP and the peach shot.
PRP is platelet-rich plasma. The terminology P shot and O shot or penis shot or O shot or wow shot or vagina shot, clitoris shot, whatever.
Gold.
All that is the same. It's just terminology.
Oh, it's all the same?
It's branding.
Oh, okay.
Branding. You know, somebody trademarked those things, and so they have the right to use them how they want to, or you pay them to use them. When I first started, we did pay to use the words P shot and O shot because those were trademarked by a doctor in Alabama. But also remember, yes, they're the same thing. But remember, you're taking your own body's growth factors and using them. So if your body doesn't have good shit, you're not going to get good shit. So that's sometimes why we do certain things to kind of help modify them. For a while, you could use something called exosomes, which is super high concentrations of these growth factors that didn't require you to, you know, take an injection or get your blood drawn to kind of get those results. But the FDA kind of put a kibosh on them. So they're doing studies to see if it's legitimate, and we can validate those from that standpoint.
So, I mean, if they're healthy, and I guess I'd recommend that if they're maybe like over 70, because there's a study that's saying that those platelets kind of decrease as they get older. So that might recommend exosomes instead of
Correct.
platelets.
Okay, guys, what is our keyword of the day?
Well, the keyword we said a lot of times, guys. The keyword is really simple. It is called the magic shot, which is what I perform on patients to give them that strong like bull
Big
Horse.
from the girl who's
I've
never
never
seen
seen one. No.
So we should call it the Big Magic Shot.
The Big Mac.
The Big Mac, yeah, because it's big. To make
So,
it big.
what we're recommending for you guys is every week we try to give something away. So from that perspective, if you are the first to comment and
Send a DM to the Snip and Sip Instagram.
okay,
Or
so-
first comment. Yeah.
and you must be following the account, you may be eligible to win either a P shot or an O shot. Obviously, we can't give everything away from that perspective, but you have to be healthy in those things to kind of get the result. But we are going to be giving that away. So what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we are talking about
You guys have no idea. They're clueless. Next week, we're talking about tech and plastic surgery. Is it good or bad? So again, thank you for staying tuned to our very long sexually driven episode
I
here.
made up for it because last week was cut short.
It was. And hopefully you're not cut short either, guys. Oh, that was a good one. But don't forget to follow us on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And again, our podcast is called Snip and Sip. Stay tuned.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud. I hope you had as much fun listening as we did recording. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all podcast sites for new episodes, as well as Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Stay snatched, stay hydrated, and until next time, cheers.